For tomorrow's rain and impacts to your Preakness plans and the dry weather that follows in my full forecast in about 20 minutes. Back to you.
Thank you, Jasmine. Coming up on Fox 45 News at 5 o'clock, thousands of people come to Baltimore amid a crime crisis. What's being done to make sure those in town for the Preakness are safe? And a chemical leak in Baltimore, the latest on the response and what we know about the accident.
Well, the Preakness is just a day away. We have the latest on everything from new developments with the racers to what the weather could look like on race day. An all-time great has passed away. A look at Jim Brown's career from the NFL to social activism. And debt ceiling talks hitting a pause. Why Republicans say the White House is being unreasonable.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Maxine Stryker, and this just in, we have the winner for this year's Black-Eyed Susan Stakes. Taxed just won the Black-Eyed Susan, and with it, $250,000. A great way to kick off Preakness weekend as we get closer to the big race tomorrow. Some other big news coming out of the Preakness. The field is now down to 7. First Mission has been scratched due to a hind leg injury. With one less horse, the betting odds have changed. Mage, the Kentucky Derby winner, still the favorite at 8-5, but National Treasure, the 3-year-old colt that just began racing last year, is in play as a front-end threat. We caught up with National Treasure's trainer, Bob Baffert.
Of the 3 classics, you know, it's the most fun classic because the pressure of the Derby's over. You have a Derby winner, so it's all about, you know, everybody's coming here to have, it's a big party, and people want to come here, have fun, and see the Derby horse, the Derby winner run, and that's what the Preakness is all about.
Baffert has already trained 2 horses that won the Triple Crown, American Pharaoh and Justify. He's coming off a ban from the Preakness after a steroid controversy during the Kentucky Derby 2 years ago involving his horse, Medina Spirit. Well, thousands of people expected to come to Baltimore this weekend for Preakness. Fox 45's Alexa Ashwell is seeing how the city plans to ensure the safety of those visiting.
Pimlico Racetrack is essentially surrounded by neighborhoods here in Northwest Baltimore. We're on a neighborhood street right now, just across the street from the track. A local economist says safety is key to the success of this race. Preakness 2023 is here, and the stakes are high for Baltimore.
The Preakness is our Super Bowl. You know, the second jewel of the Triple Crown. Every year in Baltimore, it's a chance to showcase our city
and pump millions into Baltimore's economy.
Preakness generates about $40 million in economic impact a year.
Economist Eniban Basu says that's why the safety of visitors is of utmost importance.
We want to keep those visitors safe. I mean, we know that when visitors get hurt from violence, it attracts a lot of attention. I mean, you might remember in October of 2017, a New Jersey family was assaulted in the Inner Harbor by a group of teenagers, and that still makes news, as it turns out. People still talk about that event. You don't want that kind of publicity or press.
Pimlico Racetrack neighbors the Park Heights community, an area that's historically struggled with crime. Just this year, there have been at least 127 crimes reported, according to stats from the Baltimore Police Department. The majority larceny, followed by aggravated assaults and auto thefts.
I'm sure they have some kind of plan.
Fox 45 News reached out to the Baltimore Police Department, asking, is BPD beefing up patrols in the areas surrounding Pimlico Racetrack during race weekend? Are there any other additional safety measures the department will have in place? And how will BPD ensure the safety of residents and those visiting Baltimore? Ensuring the safety and security of all this Preakness.
Well, of course, everyone's safety matters, not just visitors. But visitors are pretty important economically.
We sent those questions to the Baltimore Police Department several hours ago, and right now still waiting on a response. In Baltimore, Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
While we're tracking some potential showers pushing in for Preakness weekend, unfortunately, meteorologist Jasmine Lomax is here with the first check of the timing and if it could interfere with race day tomorrow. Jasmine?
Well, today was certainly a great day for Black-Eyed Susan Day, but the rain tomorrow could have impacts on your Preakness plans as we get ready for showers from two weather makers. The first is toward the south. You can see some areas of rain along the coast. That's all a part of that low pressure. As that happens, the rain will spread toward our area, leading to showers. We're also looking at this cold front that's going to aid in some of that rain tomorrow afternoon. Once the cold front passes, we'll be back to dry weather. That comes for Sunday. So as you plan to head to Pimlico tomorrow, you may want to grab the rain gear. Again, that rain starts in the afternoon, continues through the evening. But we're back to dry weather on Sunday. We'll have plenty of sunshine and temperatures in the upper 70s and low 80s. And notice on Monday, temperatures still very warm. We'll have lots of sunshine again and overall a gorgeous forecast. It's just tomorrow when we have that rain chance. Coming up, I'll have a look at the timing of the rain and I'll let you know the weather that follows in my full forecast. Back to you.
Thank you, Jasmine. More people in Pimlico means millions of dollars for the track. Our Rebecca Pryor is taking a look at just how much money this year's race will generate and where it'll go.
Yeah, they're bringing more than just their fancy hats and their fancy outfits. These racing fans are bringing their wallets as well. Right now, we're out where a lot of that money is currently being spent at the betting windows. Crowds been funneling in and out between races here. Some spending a couple dollars, others spending thousands between the betting, the hotels, the money spent at local shops and restaurants. A local economist estimating a potential economic impact of around $50 million for the Baltimore region. Organizers also say ticket sales are on the rise since COVID. However, we know that they're still not anywhere close to pre-pandemic levels, and as many pointing to stalled plans to update the facilities. It's now been years since state lawmakers approved $375 million to breathe new life into Pimlico. Last year, the Maryland Stadium Authority saying that they're going to break ground on construction sometime this summer, but those plans have since been walked back.
I actually can't give you a timeline. It's, there's a lot of work to be done. Everybody needs to roll up their sleeves and really pitch in and share ideas and share concepts and figure out how we can close those gaps.
Pimlico officials blaming pandemic-related supply chain issues and inflation for the setback. It's left redevelopment and Preakness' future in Baltimore up in the air. But again, the good news is that sales are up this year. Everyone that we've been talking to, their energy is high and they're excited for another successful Preakness here in Baltimore. Reporting from Pimlico, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
Some of you have been sharing your Pimlico fashion with us ahead of the race tomorrow. This was sent in by Angela Vermelin, who says she's been going to the race with the same group of friends for 25 years now. I love that. Diane Hacker also sharing her gorgeous outfit, dressed to the nines in a very floral fit to see the Black-Eyed Susan Stakes today. If you celebrate the Preakness Stakes this year, make sure to send us a picture or video from Pimlico or your at-home Preakness celebrations. Head to foxbaltimore.com/chime-in or scan the QR code on your screen.
We're following some breaking news tonight. All-time great NFL running back with a complicated history, Jim Brown, has died. His wife says that he passed away peacefully last night at his Los Angeles home with her by his side. He led the Cleveland Browns to their last NFL title before retiring in his prime in 1966. Jim Brown then went into acting in many, many movies. He was also a civil rights activist, putting together the famous Ali Summit of 1967 after boxer Muhammad Ali decided not to serve in the Vietnam War. Jim Brown's history is also complicated by numerous arrests, including charges of hitting women. Jim Brown was 87 years old.
Two people arrested in connection with a deadly road rage shooting earlier this month on Pulaski Highway. Police say the victim, 29-year-old Shalia Hendricks, was shot before she lost control of her vehicle. Cell phone data led authorities to 29-year-old Rylan Harris and 28-year-old Darashay Groves. They both are charged with first-degree murder. Investigators say the suspects were trailing the victim before that shooting. Also developing tonight, a chemical leak in South Baltimore. According to a series of tweets from Councilwoman Felicia Porter, just after 7 a.m., MDE's emergency team was altered to a nitric acid leak from a vacuum truck in Curtis Bay. That truck spilled between 50 and 75 gallons of acid, she said. And the councilwoman says the chemicals were collected and being treated. She also tweeted that the operators of the W.R. Grace facility where that spill happened are responsible for the remaining cleanup tonight. Two people arrested after police followed armed carjacking suspects across the city and county today. Baltimore City police say a vehicle wanted in connection with an armed carjacking was caught on surveillance cameras in West Baltimore. When officers tried to stop the vehicle, the driver took off. Police followed the car into Anne Arundel County, where the suspects were caught along Route 32 near Telegraph Road. The suspects have not been identified. Democrats and Republicans once again at an impasse on those debt talks. Negotiations, they broke down early today after a short meeting at the Capitol. The Republican House lead negotiator telling reporters they're pressing pause, also saying he's unsure if talks would resume this weekend. A White House official acknowledging difficulties with negotiations today, but also said the president is committed to reaching a bipartisan solution. At the same time, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is voicing frustration with the breakdown.
Well, we've got to get movement by the White House, and we don't have any movement yet. So, yeah, we got to pause.
The tone seemed really optimistic yesterday. Is it sort of the easy stuff's done and the hard stuff's left?
I really felt we were at the location where I could see the path. The White House is just, look, we can't be spending more money next year. We have to spend less than we spent the year before. It's pretty easy.
McCarthy currently facing pressure from the Freedom Caucus of his party to not agree to any deal. They called on him yesterday to stop all negotiations with President Biden. Too many overdoses to keep up. The toll an overwhelming drug epidemic is taking on first responders across the country.
A national debate over the use of preferred pronouns has landed at the steps of the State Department. I'm Janae Bowens in Washington. Coming up, I'll tell you more about the controversy that's hit the nation's capital.
Making headlines now, President Biden telling G7 summit leaders the U.S. will support a joint effort to train Ukrainian pilots on F-16 fighter jets. The training will not happen in the U.S., but U.S. personnel, they'll be participating in it. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky taking to Twitter to welcome the president's decision, calling it historic. It comes after President Biden said Ukraine didn't need F-16s earlier this year. It's unclear which countries will be supplying the jets to Ukraine. A national debate over the use of preferred pronouns has landed at the steps of the State Department. The National Desk's Janae Bowens is taking a deeper look into the controversial practice that's hit the nation's capital.
A passionate exchange at Thursday's State Department press briefing.
It's ridiculous.
Associated Press reporter Matt Lee said the State Department had begun adding pronouns to all of their employees' email profiles, and some of them were wrong.
This is not an optional thing. This is something that has been just arbitrarily imposed.
A spokesperson for the department was unaware of the change.
I have not seen this phenomenon for myself.
The State Department's Matthew Miller later tweeting it was an issue with Microsoft Outlook, and the change was unintentional. This being discussed at a federal level as pronoun policies and laws are being looked at across the country.
It's not worth risking one life.
In Arizona, State Representative Lorena Austin, the legislature's first non-binary lawmaker, says a bill forbidding teachers from using students' preferred pronouns without parental permission is hateful.
We heard so much testimony from people in this community, from young people who were told that if they ever came out, they would be harmed, in some cases even killed.
Proponents of the bill say parents have the right to know what is going on with their child.
The struggles they're going through and not create an alternate reality for them at school while they go home and live a false reality with their parents.
Tennessee Governor Bill Lee signed a bill Wednesday that protects teachers if they refuse to refer to students by their preferred pronouns if it is not consistent with the student's biological sex. Meanwhile, in Baltimore, there's a proposal to make the willful use of the incorrect name or pronouns of an individual unlawful across various sectors, including education. And the State Department tells me they were testing a new feature that accidentally went live. Now, they say they regret the confusion and tell me it won't be mandatory when they do roll it out, an effort they say to make their systems more inclusive.
And Janae, what do Americans think about mandatory email policies at work listing their pronouns?
Right. So a recent poll from Newsweek shows the majority of millennials are in favor of workplaces requiring gender pronouns on emails, while close to 50% of Gen Z respondents are opposed to the idea.
All right. Thank you so much, Janae, for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Right now, you're taking a look over the harbor and over Towson. It's been a very, very nice Friday. Gorgeous, lots of sunshine, but on the HD radar, you can see 2 areas of rain, and that's all associated with our next weather maker. Hopefully, we're able to enjoy the nice and dry weather for Black-Eyed Susan Day. Fortunately, tomorrow, we've got that chance for rain. Currently, our temperatures sit at 73. It is a little bit breezy with winds out of the south-southwest. We've also got numbers mainly in the 70s across the state. So again, very nice. It'll stay nice for the evening and overnight. Our temperatures will fall to the 50s and we stay dry, but it's later in the morning when we have our chance for showers. These continue into the afternoon and evening, which means if you're heading to Pimlico, the rain could have impacts on your plans. We'll end the weekend on a dry note on Sunday with sunshine and temperatures in the 70s and 80s. We'll stay above average as we head into the upcoming work week. So really it's tomorrow when we have that next system and then quiet weather follows. We're still nice and dry here in Maryland, but you can see to our south and along the coast, there are some areas of rain all associated with that low pressure system off the Carolinas coast. That will move to the north along the coast. And as that happens, we'll have rain here tomorrow. We're also watching this cold front that's going to move across the region, aiding in some of that rain. But once it passes, we'll be back to drier weather. So this evening, it looks great with just a few clouds. More clouds arrive after midnight, and we'll start with mostly dry weather for the morning, but this changes as we get closer to noon. The showers move in as that low pressure system moves up the coast. Then as we head into the afternoon, still the chance for rain and possibly some heavy rain at times. You can see that cold front pushing across the screen, though. As it moves over the area, the rain will gradually start to taper. We're still talking the chance for a stray shower around 6 or 7 o'clock. So if you have plans to go to Preakness tomorrow, you want to make sure that you have the rain gear handy and make sure to keep watch on the radar. We'll stay mostly dry as we head into Sunday. We start with clouds before ending with sunshine. That will be a great way to end the weekend. So again, tonight temperatures drop to 57 with increasing clouds. Then tomorrow our temperatures go from the 50s to the 60s and then to the upper 70s and 80s. We've got that chance for afternoon showers, but we finish the weekend with drier weather and warmer temperatures. Coming up, I'll have a look at what you can expect for the next several days and how long we stay dry in the exclusive 10-day forecast.
Baltimore city leaders, state officials, and Department of Transportation representatives promoting Bike to Work Day. Today marks the city's 26th annual Bike to Work Day. Officials hosting the event saying it's a great way to start your morning while staying healthy.
As we celebrate together, it is my hope that Bike to Work Day will motivate residents to try alternative, more environmentally friendly modes of transportation for commuting to work. In Baltimore City, the transportation infrastructure is now being designed to promote equity and accessibility for all users.
Local leaders also promised to continue to make the city more accessible to bikers and stress the environmental and economic benefits of riding to work. Camping at Assateague Island National Seashore could get more expensive soon. The National Park Service superintendent proposing a price increase from $30 to $40 per night for a small campsite and a $30 increase for a group site. Campers can make their voices heard on the price increase by going to the public comment page on the National Park Service website, nps.com.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Flash flooding today in eastern North Carolina as up to 10 inches of rain fell in some places. It only takes 6 inches of water to reach the bottom of most cars, and that can cause possible stalling. This impressive cumulonimbus cloud was spotted Thursday near Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The dense vertical cloud is the only type that is capable of producing hail, thunder, and lightning.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
Well, how is the fentanyl crisis impacting those on the front lines? Coming up, one Washington police officer sharing her story. It's a race to keep up for first responders. The fentanyl crisis is taking a toll on police, firefighters, and medical crews. Jeremy Harris from our Sinclair sister station in Seattle rode along with one Washington first responder who says not enough is being done to help stop the crisis.
And when I looked down, I realized someone was giving CPR to another human being on the ground in the middle of the alley.
This is an alley where Bellingham Police Lieutenant Claudia Murphy says fentanyl use and overdoses happen regularly.
The only thing left was just empty packets of Narcan, and then the alley was right back to doing what they were doing. Everybody was just right back to doing what they were doing. It was just it's very eerie feeling.
But she says users aren't afraid of the cops.
You saw the one guy already gripe at us or gripe at me for driving through.
Or the consequences of using deadly fentanyl.
Of course people need treatment, but until we have that infrastructure in place, we are left with nothing. And so that's what our officers are struggling with.
City data shows first responders here in Bellingham have responded to 300 overdose calls this year. Of those, 42 patients were under the age of 20. So this is where the 15-year-old died.
Yes, sir, it is.
A large encampment sprawled in Bellingham for months. Lieutenant Murphy says fentanyl use here was constant.
I don't think anyone's ever prepared to come into an encampment that looks like this and have to take a 15-year-old child out of a tent.
Whatcom County is also where first responders found a 5-year-old girl dead inside of a home from a suspected overdose of fentanyl. First responders here tell us they've encountered drug users who receive Narcan, then want to immediately keep using drugs.
It is definitely a wildfire, and we don't have the hoses to put it out.
Lieutenant Murphy says seeing this constantly takes a toll.
An entire generation of children we are losing to fentanyl.
And she says hopes of any immediate solutions are slim.
I'm not so sure how many of us can take a 15-year-old and then followed by a 5-year-old dying at the hands of fentanyl.
But the one thing that is clear is that as long as the fentanyl crisis is here, Washington first responders will do what they can to keep up. In Bellingham, Jeremy Harris.
It's been a gorgeous start to Preakness weekend, but tomorrow, unfortunately, the rain moves in all ahead of our next weather maker. 78 for the temperature by the afternoon with the chance for scattered showers. We'll be back to dry weather on Sunday, 80. 80 again on Monday, 77 on Tuesday, 80s on Wednesday and Thursday, 70s on Friday. Then for the following weekend, temperatures will be in the 70s and 80s with a mostly dry forecast. Maxine?
Finally tonight, the Maryland Zoo's prairie dog community just got a little bigger. Take a look at this. Tiny black-tailed prairie dog pups have begun popping up from their underground dens. Oh, they're so cute.